Hi everyone, today I'm going to be going through SCANOSS Code Compare and how it helps you manage and detect open source code components in your projects. Scrolling down the GitHub repository, we can see that SCANOSS Code Compare can be installed in several ways. Since I'm on Windows, I'll copy and paste the Windows installation command and paste it into PowerShell, making sure that it's open as administrator. So pasting the command into PowerShell and pressing enter, giving it a second and let that install the most recent version of SCANOSS Code Compare. Now before launching Code Compare, it's important that we actually configure it in PowerShell, and the way to do that is typing out this command, scanoss.json configure the API URL and then your scanoss API key. Once that's done, you press enter. As you can see, the configuration successfully saved. So once you've configured your API key, you can then launch Code Compare by typing in scanoss-cc, press enter, and give it a second and let that load. And here's the SCANOSS Code Compare interface. Right now, it's showing up that there's no file selected because we haven't run a scan yet. Once we're ready, we can run a scan by clicking Run a New Scan button. This opens up a configuration dialog, then clicking the directory you want to scan. I'll be pointing to my project directory, which is this folder right here, scanoss.cc_demo. This is a folder that I created and it contains a JSON encoder file that I got from an AI coding assistant to help serialize Python objects. So click select the folder. Once you've selected your directory, start the scan to see what Code Compare discovers about your code. Once the scan is complete, you can close out of this box to actually view the results. Let me walk you through what we're seeing here. At the top left-hand corner, it says one decision to make. This means that Code Compare has detected one component that requires my review. In the pending section, we can see that one file needs attention. Looking further, we can see that my local file, JSON_py, matches to the code from FastAPI's GitHub repository, specifically mentioning encoders.py. At the top here, it mentions the FastAPI GitHub repository. Clicking this will actually bring you to GitHub. We can see that it detected a snippet match with a percentage of 96 and the status is pending, which means that we need to make a decision about this. We also get a side-by-side comparison to see what exactly matches. So Code Compare is asking me to make a decision about this match. I have four options at the top here: include, dismiss, replace, and skip. Let me explain what each of these mean. So include means that I acknowledge the code comes from FastAPI and I want to keep using it. This is the right choice when the license is compatible with the project and I want to keep the code and understand the obligations of the license. Clicking the include button shows that I can include the file, folder, or the component itself. So the dismiss option here is for false positives. I would use this if the match is just a coincidence, and we can dismiss the file or component or folder by clicking dismiss and then selecting one of the options. Going further, we have the replace option. It's important for license conflicts or any security issues. I would use this when the license is incompatible with my project. There's a known security vulnerability and I need to find an alternative. And also you have file, folder, and component replace options here. The last option we have here is skip. Now this is if you're looking to make a decision at a later stage, not right now. So you would actually skip this match and make your decision later on. So in my case here, let's think about it. The code that I have here is from FastAPI. It's an MIT license, which means that it's permissive and compatible with most projects. I want to keep using this functionality. I just need to make sure I comply with the MIT license requirements. So the right choice here for me is to include, and I'm going to do it here by selecting include file. Perfect. So looking at the left-hand side here, we can see that the file moved from pending files to completed files. What we have to do now is just to click save on the top right hand corner right here. As you can see, your changes have been successfully saved. Now let's see what will happen if I trigger a rescan. So to do this, you go into the top left hand corner, click scan with options. Make sure that your directory to scan is the same and then click start scan. Give it a second and that should load the configurations that we saved a second ago. And look at this, I have no decisions to make in my working directory. Even though I just rescanned the exact same code, Code Compare isn't asking to review it again. The match is still there, the same 96% similarity, the FastAPI component, the same MIT license. Code Compare isn't hiding this information from me. It's simply no longer asking me to make decisions again because I've already made a decision and it's recorded it in the scanoss.json settings file. Opening up PowerShell and navigating to the project directory, I'm going to do an ls and see what files and folders were created. As you can see, a folder called .scanoss was created and a file called scanoss.json. So the .scanoss folder contains your scan results. You don't need to commit this to version control, and now the scanoss.json file is what matters. This records the decisions you made in Code Compare to either include, dismiss, or replace the code or components you're using. Now this file should be committed to version control so your whole team sees the same decisions you made previously. Opening up the scanoss.json file, we can see it documents which component is included. And that's the complete workflow, from scan to decision to documentation. Thank you so much for watching.